Welcome back to CVTV News. We're sponsored and brought to you by Germanna Community College. Well, Spotsylvania Sheriff Roger Harris, who's been on our TV program before, and Fire Chief Clinton went before the Spotsylvania County Board of Supervisors to present a plan for significantly improving the pay scales for county deputies, fire and emergency personnel, and other first responders. This is a problem throughout the area. Both Chief Cullinan and Sheriff Roger Harris said they were having serious problems attracting and retaining recruits and experienced personnel. Unless something is done and pay is improved, both officials agree that the problem is only going to get worse. Spotsylvania County has managed to add nearly 50,000 people to its population since 2000, so the demands on the first responders and fire personnel are growing. Now over to George Kearns with the Sports Report. George.
Thanks, guys. George Kearns here for CVTV Sports. The Super Bowl wrapped up this past weekend with the New England Patriots winning its 6th Super Bowl over the LA Rams 13-3. New England had a stellar performance from their defense, holding the Rams to 3 points, and they usually average 33 points per game. Give Coach Belichick credit for coming up with the perfect game plan to keep the Rams' offense in check. They pressured quarterback Jared Goff of the LA Rams all night long, and his receivers were covered very well by Stephon Gilmore and the McCourty brothers. Tom Brady was not as sharp in the first half, but he made the plays count, hitting wide receiver Julian Edelman and tight end Rob Gronkowski. The running backs were superb behind an offensive line that held defensive end Aaron Donald and defensive end Ndamukong Suh all night. Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead had good runs throughout the game. It was 3-3 most of the game until the fourth quarter, when Sony Michel broke into the end zone with a 2-yard run to make it 10-3, and they went on to win 13-3. Wide receiver Julian Edelman won the game's MVP with 10 catches for 141 yards. He said the Rams could not cover him, and that was true. They could not stop him as he was open most of the evening. I myself thought it was a good defensive game. Most thought it was boring because they were looking for an offensive game. But defense wins championships. And that's what the New England Patriots did. Played relentless defense for all New England fans. It was not boring, it was great. 1 million people turned out for New England's parade this past Tuesday in Boston as they celebrated the win over the Rams. Congratulations to the New England Patriots for winning their 6th Super Bowl trophy. New England Patriots, Super Bowl champs. Also, the Hall of Fame class of 2019 is in, with tight end Tony Gonzalez, quarterback Ty Law, cornerback Champ Bailey, offensive lineman Kevin Mawai, safety Ed Reed. Congrats to all of them and what they did in their careers. In men's college basketball, this Saturday night on ESPN at 6 o'clock is Duke at Virginia. Should be a good game as Virginia tries to avenge a loss from last month to Duke. Tennessee still hanging at number 1 with a record of 20-1. Duke is at number 2 at 19-2. Virginia is number 3 at 20-1. March Madness is coming up soon. Things will be heating up. In women's college basketball, Baylor is number 1. Louisville is number 2, and Oregon is number 3. UConn took a fall back to number 5 with a record of 19-2 last week, losing to Louisville. Spring training in baseball is set to get underway February 21st. The Washington Nationals also open up Saturday, February 23rd with a game against Houston at West Palm Beach, Florida. Outfielder Bryce Harper still has not signed with anyone. The Nationals offered him 10 years, $323 million in the offseason, and he turned it down. NASCAR season is around the corner, starting next week on Fox at 2:30 with the running of the Daytona 500. In NBA news, the Washington Wizards have traded Otto Porter Jr. to the Chicago Bulls for Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker. The Wizards are 22-32 and 4 games behind in their division. The NBA All-Star Game is next week on February 17th in Charlotte, North Carolina. In NHL news, the Washington Capitals are 29-18 with 64 points, second in their division. Well, that's a look at sports. I'm George Kearns for CVTV Sports. Back to you guys.
Well, there's a new historical marker in Stafford. If you live in or have driven through Stafford on Route 1 anytime after 1930, you've no doubt passed the large crucifix statue.
Our news is a little bit aged today.
It is. Today is brought to you by history. You've no doubt passed the large crucifix statue designed by George J. Lober at the intersection of Telegraph Road. I had wrongly assumed that it was erected by St. William of York Catholic Church, located nearby to the south. I had never made time to stop and read the historical marker, number E76, at the crucifix. It was only after reading an article by Alex Dolinsko of Inside Nova that I realized the significance of the site. The marker reads, "The crucifix by sculptor George J. Lober, erected in 1930, commemorates the first English Roman Catholic settlement in Virginia. Fleeing political and religious turmoil in Maryland, Giles Brent and his sisters Margaret and Mary established two plantations called Peace and Retirement on the north side of the Aquia Creek between 1647 and 1650. Later, they jointly acquired 15,000 acres in northern Virginia, including the site of present-day Alexandria. Their nephew, George Brent, whose plantation Woodstock and family cemetery were located nearby, represented Stafford County in the House of Burgesses in 1688, the only Roman Catholic delegate in the colonial period. The local parish of St. William of York did not place a statue there, but holds ancestry to the settlement. This marker recently received a Virginia History Trails official site marker that commemorates rarely or undertold history of the birth and formation of the United States. If you can't travel to Virginia History Trails, you can still access valuable information from their app outlining 20 trails and 400 stories. Well, we thank you for inviting us into your home.
And for having us in your home. And we hope you'll tune in next week when we bring you another weekend report from CVTV News. That's for good this week.
We went through rather quickly.
What was